number one, you gotta have a passion to play baseball. You gotta grind. Those guys are tough. They're playing double headers, every time out. So you know kind of what you're getting.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. It's time to go one-on-one with DP. Coming at you live from the Coppel Chevrolet GMC studios. Here is your host, Derek Pearson. Brought to you by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
When you hear Cult of Personality by Living Color, that I'm on one. It's good to be back. It's going to be back on air, trying to play catch up on a lot of different things at the same time. And of course, trying to keep it moving forward and up, because that's where all the good things are. I appreciate you folks hanging out at 6 o'clock on a weeknight. And just so you know that over the course of going forward, that I'd like to bring one-on-one back. Matter of fact, I don't really have a boss, so if we want to bring it back, I can bring it back. But the idea is to find a partner. The folks from Mary Ellen's have other obligations and things, so I'll need to find a partner for this. I'll need to find a local corporate sponsor. And Austin Norman, thank you for hanging out and making sure this gets up and going.
Gladly.
You'll be
my first one-on-one.
Yeah, you'll be the sounding board for these long diatribe-driven hours. And it's so insane that each and every day at 6 o'clock there'll be a different direction, a different vibe, a different mood, different topics. Some days we will spend it laughing, some will spend it crying, some we will try to make things better, and all of them we will be considerate of the good things in the world and what's going on. So 402-464-5685 is the Sartor Hamann text line. If you want to be a part of this hour and you have something to say, this would be a really good day to ask questions. And here's what I'll promise you. Here's what I promise you. Through my time here in Lincoln, especially on one-on-one, I lead with this. Do I have your permission to tell you the truth? And that once that's done, then we can begin having some meaningful conversations. And if it ever gets to the point where you don't feel like the truth is being spoken, then the GPS comes on and we get to say, hey, it appears that we have gone away from truth. The other thing is, be positive, be nice, be kind, and be authentic, be you. And so, say things like what I tell people constantly is that I will never say a thing about anybody in public that I would say to them in private, face to face, or even in a closet with no lights on. Because there's a whole lot of falseness in conversation. There's a whole lot of fake in conversation. There's that access provides people some false sense of the right to just say anything to anybody at any time without retribution, without responsibility. And talking about sports, and I say this about sports, is that sports is a wonderful vehicle for conversation, and it's a great mirror to our humanity. Right? Like that, if you want to know what's going on in the world, pay attention to sports. Sports will tell you what's going on. And whether you like it or not is entirely up to you. You don't have to always like what the world is saying. Then you can get a choice to either do something about it in a positive way or not. And one of my mentors gave me a thing saying that nature abhors a vacuum. That we all have individual and shared vacuums that exist. And you can either put something good in the vacuum and it will occupy the vacuum, or you can wait and let nature decide what's going to be in your vacuum. And nature has a sense of humor. So if you don't put something good in the space tends to giggle, snort, chuckle, and throw something negative into your vacuum that will occupy you and your vacuum. And as a coach, one of the signs that I had, no matter whether it was a basketball locker room, football locker room, baseball locker room, whatever, what are you putting in our vacuum? What are you putting in our space? And the challenge was to each player and to each coach, put something good in the vacuum. Put something good in the vacuum. Like, what are you putting in my soup? Like, whoa. What are you putting in my soup? And they're players, basketball, there's 12 players, and that means that there are 12 chefs cooking at the same time. And some are working hard at being efficient and productive, and some are just occupying space. And that affects everything. And most times in sports, whether it's a team or an organization, there are people who drive the vacuum, and they're constantly pushing for good. That they want a standard that matches who they are and what they're about. And remember, coaches and administrators work in the space of their character, not in their knowledge. There's a difference. There's a difference. So think of you as a boss, or think of you as a partner in life, that you respond and work in your character. And that when you hear about great players, what they will tell you about Michael Jordan was that he worked at such a high ethical rate of accountability to himself and his teammates. Nobody ever said Michael doesn't work hard enough. Nobody ever said that Larry Bird didn't work hard enough. Nobody ever said that Duke basketball doesn't work hard.
I've said that a time or two.
In reality, right? Have Duke basketball at their worst has worked harder than 99.9% of the population that judges Duke basketball. Like, I've never, even as a player and as a college athlete, I never worked as hard as Duke works in an ACC basketball game. Like, that's a fair thing, right? And that we get into standards. We get into standards. And what I hope we root for, that we individually and collectively, what we root for represents us at our character level, right? So when somebody says, hey, I'm a fan of so-and-so, immediately what that says is you identify with so-and-so and they speak and act for you because you're wearing their colors, their names often, right? That, oh, that's me. Like that. That's a me team right there. Is that fair? In that you root for your community because that's a statement of you. You root for non-community that you identify with.
That you would like to be part of, potentially.
And that you want to be a part, that you want to be like. Is that fair?
Sure.
So text line. If I asked you to identify who you root for, right? Because those are our superheroes. Those are our North Stars, right? And then you know what you know until you know something else. So being a kid of Northern Virginia, and I'm old enough that there was no DirecTV, there was no cable TV, there was no nothing. Like I listen to the old Washington Senators on a transistor radio that barely worked some of the time. Like, I'm old enough that I would go to my grandmother's house. And Austin, have you ever seen the console radio stereos? They sit on the floor. In the middle of it, there's a record player.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And then these two huge speakers on the end. And then on top, or at the bottom of the record player, is the radio.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is in the old wire antenna day. And if that wire got disconnected or it got old, you couldn't find a station. That's how we consumed baseball or football. Because if you were in Washington, D.C., and there was one game on in the NFL, mind you, I'm old enough to where there was the NFL and the AFL, right? And you got one game on the NFL first. And then, so 1 o'clock, you got the NFC. You got the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, right, back then, you would get, and this is so weird now that I think about it, that Washington, Dallas, St. Louis,
Yep.
Philly.
Were they the Rams or the Cardinals?
They were the St. Louis Cardinals of the old Jim Hart,
Yeah.
Mel Gray, Terry Metcalf, Conrad Dobler.
I totally know all those names.
Right,
you said.
right,
Totally.
right. That Jim Otis, Jackie Smith before he goes to the Dallas Cowboys and breaks hearts against either the Vikings, Packers, Lions, 49ers, Rams, Bears. Like there was a smaller nucleus of teams, and you got what you got. You got one game, and it was the best game of the week. And if your team stunk, which Washington often did, you didn't get Washington's game, which is why they sold out every game, first of all, because you had to go. You had to go.
You had to see the stink.
You
I
had
hear
to,
the
like,
stink.
hey man, you weren't,
Get in it.
you couldn't disconnect from it. But you would then go to the radio. And I can literally feel 7-year-old me sitting in front of my grandmother's stereo, listening to the call of Washington Redskins football against whoever. And if you felt froggy, you could get in a car and drive to Baltimore, right? And you'd get Johnny Unitas or Burt Jones or, right, Marty Domrez. Like, I'm that dude, right? Yeah, I remember him. So you knew the best teams and the worst teams. You missed a lot of in between. We got our highlights. You ready for this?
Lay it on me, DP.
Oh, man. There was no ESPN. There is no ESPN, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a sports highlight Sunday news at 11 o'clock at night that told you and showed you 15 seconds of every game. That's all you got. That's all you got.
That's all we get on social media now anyways, DP. You're ahead of the game.
But at least now you get it right away. Because there was no internet. There's no computer. Like you sat in front of your so there was ABC, NBC, CBS, and maybe a public broadcast channel.
A PBS.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. 4 channels. This is before Fox. Yeah, I'm old. I'm hearing that out loud. That you got, that's what you got. And then you got Jimmy the Greek, Brent Musburger, Jane Kennedy, or Phyllis George, depending on your era and your like. Irv Cross. You're Looking Live. And that's how you knew you found out anything, was that you would see in black and white a flash of each stadium with Brent Musburger telling you you're looking live at Lambeau Field. You're looking live at RFK Stadium. That's all you got. That's all you knew of it. Right? And then the four of them, the three of them would sit there and talk for 30 minutes. And Jimmy the Greek would give you this board. And it's old school board, man, of checks. Jimmy Greek, getting a check from Jimmy the Greek was the biggest thing you could imagine, because he would go through and he'd say, okay, it's Washington and Dallas. He would have quarterbacks, and he'd give a check to one of the two teams. So is it Sonny Jurgensen or Roger Staubach? Who gets the check? Who's playing better running game? You know, is it Tony Dorsett? Is it Calvin Hill or Larry Brown? Or, you know, Tony Dorsett or John Riggins?
And the answer is always John Riggins, right?
No, because Jimmy the Greek didn't like us like that. and there was a lot of that. Like, just like you think, like today you go, oh, they don't like Nebraska. Yeah, everywhere you lived, you thought that they didn't like they didn't like you and your people. And then finally he would come down and then intangibles, and he would always put intangibles at the bottom. And that was usually the difference maker, right? Just a gut feeling. Jimmy the Greek would go, you know what? Vikings and Packers are dead even. The intangibles, Bud Grant. Check. It was then, as it evolved, you'd get that version. Then at 3:30 or 2:30 here, you would get the kickoff on NBC of the AFL or the AFC. It was the AFL. And I remember Jim Sims, Kurt Gowdy, and Al DeRogatis. Now,
Kurt Gowdy, I know.
Let me tell you, Al DeRogatis was the smoothest, most buttery dude ever. Just crisp on the microphone. But they had, and then as Merlin Olsen's career ended, he became the guy. And of course, you know, different evolutions of the broadcast teams. Before Madden, it was Tom Brookshire. It was Pat Summerall and Tom Brookshire. And the joke was, like, my uncles would talk about, well, how many beverages do you think they've had so far? Like, what are they doing? Like, what are they doing? Right? And you didn't realize that the other games weren't being broadcasted. They're being recorded. And radio's doing a call, but you're not getting. Here comes the AFL. So the NFL was grinded, mud, out. Hey, we're just going to run the ball 3 yards of cloud dust. If you watched, I think the Packers, there were weeks, consecutive weeks where Bart Starr would throw 15 passes in a game. Right? And then Fran Tarkenton would come on and scramble, and you go, okay, at least there's that, right? At least there's that. Billy Kilmer. So imagine watching Bart Starr and Billy Kilmer where they throw 28 passes in a game. Okay. And then 4 o'clock would happen. And here comes the AFL with, if they ran it 14 times, it was a record breaker. Because Daryl LaMonica, the Mad Bomber, and Lenny Dawson were about to put in work. Or John Hadle. Like, if you got the Chargers and Raiders, buckle up. 48-47, let's get it.
Bring it.
Yeah, like, let's get it. And you didn't know, like, how many times Biletnikoff and Branch with any version of the Chargers, Kellen Winslow, Charlie Joyner, like, it was just insanity. It was just, chef's kiss. It was beautiful. So then you, as a kid, you start to identify, like, wait a minute. Like, I know I'm a DC guy, but I kind of like that points. Like, there
offense.
Like, there are points.
Fun.
Right? Like, there are points. And then it hit me not at the first Super Bowl, but at Super Bowl III. Because back then the Colts were in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And here comes, I'm going to throw it 40 times, Broadway Joe Namath with the white Pumas. This dude had white Pumas on. Like a quarterback, a white dude with white Pumas. I was like, oh, okay, now we're cooking. Like he's going to throw it. Dude's chilling on the sideline. He's injured. He's sitting on there's the iconic picture of him sitting on the sideline in New York in a fur coat. Okay, Joe. Okay. You realize that the grinded out NFL wasn't for everybody. Some people,
Iowa football.
Right? And then you think back in time, because where was Nebraska in the college football pantheon of this is a run it program. This is right.
You have the core.
We really ain't trying to throw the ball. No. It took a while for Nebraska to figure out what to do with Vince Ferragamo. Wait a minute. Hey,
they
bro.
got there eventually.
Hey, bro. Wait a minute. Pause. Pump the brakes. But the rest of the country, you're getting, again, imagine you're getting, I don't even remember ACC football being on TV as a kid. I know that Maryland was on because I recall seeing it.
Also on that front, lefty.
Yeah. We'll get to we'll get to the left-hander. We'll get to the left-hander. But I don't remember. So you would get, and it wasn't the Southeast Conference, it was the Southwest Conference, and you would get like an Arkansas-Texas game.
Rice,
right? You get. I don't ever remember seeing Rice on TV.
Really?
I really don't.
You survived.
I
unscathed.
don't. Yeah, I don't. Well, here's the thing: when they got the Super Bowl, they played it at Rice, and by far the worst stadium a Super Bowl has ever been hosted at is Rice Stadium. If you want to listen, there are high school fields currently in Nebraska for 8-man that are better suited for Super Bowl than Rice Stadium. It is a thing. Like, oh my goodness. Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. It's so bad. But you would get Notre Dame against somebody, right? Notre Dame being an independent could get anybody. I don't know what the middle of the country was getting because I think they had options. I think you had options. But DC always chose the biggest game. So DC didn't care. Like it wasn't like Maryland could be playing Clemson and they didn't care if Nebraska was playing Oklahoma or Nebraska was playing, Missouri.
Notre Dame, USC.
Yeah, it's like whatever
Navy.
the game. Like, so this is the thing though. I never saw bad football. I never, for all the old heads, right? I don't think they can sit back and go, oh, that was a terrible stretch of football, because you never saw the bad football. Here in the Midlands, you saw Nebraska run it up on people, but I'm pretty sure that I'll ask this text line to help me out. In the 70s, in the Johnny Rodgers, Jerry Taggy 70s, were all of those games on TV locally? I don't know. So text line, help me out. Did you see every Huskers game growing up, or did you have to go to the stadium, or did you I know you could go to the games, but were they on TV? I know they were on the radio, but I don't know if they were on TV. And that was the whole thing. Austin, you grew up in an era where all basketball games were available. Were all Husker games always available to you?
Some of them were pay-per-view.
Some
had to
of
buy
them
the
were
box and everything. I remember that.
Cable box. You had the cable box, but you had to you had to buy specifically whatever network was doing Husker basketball.
Most of them were on TV, but I remember a couple times picking up a box and the remote just to watch the Husker game.
Where did you get the box from?
I don't know. I do not know.
I have to ask your mom.
I will.
Yeah.
But yeah, basketball never had a problem.
And is the same for baseball?
I'm actually running into more problems with baseball now.
Yeah. Yes, all games were played at 1:30 at home. Only select games were on TV, and he says he's 43. Ohio Husker says he's 43 and only select games.
Are you actually 43, or are you 43 in the way that Jay Foreman just had his 40th birthday yesterday?
He's 43 and he saw Jay Foreman. Right? He saw Jay Foreman in college. He was in class with Jay Foreman in college. Yeah, I mean, as it evolves, sports evolves. And we find different things that appeal to us. And so, yeah, Big Bird says all we had was the rabbit ears. And most memories were Saturday, sponsored by Phillips 66. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it was Big 12, sponsored by Phillips 66 or Motel 6. You occasionally had, what was the other one?
So usually it was a gas station, a hotel, and a restaurant.
Yeah.
Right? Like in most places.
Phillips 66, Motel 6, and...
Like Washington, it was National Bohemian Beer. Natty Bo. Like you could get I remember in center field, they had another beer and it was really bad. Black Label. Darling Black Label. That was the stuff. And then cigarettes was always the sponsored thing. Cigarettes. Marlboro Man sat in the middle. Like in most stadiums, Marlboro Man was out there. Like dude was just out there chilling. Like, and it had usually the mobile one.
Yeah.
Sean says Whataburger. Where were you, Sean? Was that here?
Whataburger's a Texas thing.
Right. I would say he wasn't here.
Because Mahomes was trying to get one to Kansas City.
Hey, Patrick, build it. You have the money.
You'll make it back tomorrow.
What are you doing? The Mahomes burger, if he owned the Mahomes Whataburger, he opened it in Kansas. Like, what are you even doing? Like, if you have that much money, do what you want. If I was, listen, if I wanted a Whataburger, you know what? I'm going to think about that. What's the one thing that I wish was in Lincoln, Nebraska that I would just buy and eat on a regular basis? Austin, if there's any restaurant that you could build your own here in Lincoln, is there a restaurant that you would just, Whataburger makes sense.
Yeah, In-N-Out's okay. I kind of miss A&W.
I want, you know what, here's a low-key thing that I love, and I don't know if it exists here, but if it doesn't, I'd like that. And if it does, my apologies. Johnny Rockets.
No.
Johnny Rockets makes the best hamburger and milkshake. And you can only find them in like shopping malls now.
I think there's one at Mall of America up in Minneapolis.
Yeah. Johnny Rockets. Oh, that's a jam. Oh, Johnny Rockets is a thing. Yeah, that if I could do it, that would be one. Okay, text line. You have the break to let us know what you would do. Folks are saying that Whataburger, Casey has a Whataburger. But yeah, what would be the thing you would bring and what's missing? But also, what was the thing that made you love? Like we talked about it. We've talked about the moments that made you love Nebraska football. And what I was getting to was what you grew up and what were the memories based on. So Austin, I'll ask you, your first Husker basketball game live, what do you remember about it? We'll get that answer when we come back.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store. You're listening to One-on-One with DP on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Houses? They're expensive. And once you buy one, you're kind of stuck with it for a while. You need to make sure you get your best house for the best price. You need Ben Bleicher and his team of pros at Professional Realty Group. They'll take the time to figure out what's important for you in your dream home, and they have the expertise to find the hidden issues that could surprise you after the sale. That's professional knowledge, proactive service. We call that potential. Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's Home Service Ambassador. Find more online at prg-ne.com.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
Hey guys, Jake Sorensen here from Early Break. The garage door at our house has been needing replacement for a couple years, and a few months ago, we finally did something about it. Steve's Garage Doors and Services was great through the whole process in providing options and also going to the next level to get a door that was approved by our HOA. And best of all, the removal of the old door and installation of the new door was done smoothly with no issues. Call Steve's Garage Doors and Services today at 402-480-2840.
The Omaha Supernovas are back in action this Wednesday, February 21st versus the Columbus Fury at the Nationwide Arena in Columbus. The Mullen Motors pregame show with Derek Pearson and Renee Saunders starts at 5 p.m. with first serve at 6. Make sure to tune in to the next Ag Appraisal and Realty postgame show right after the match ends. Catch all the action on your flagship station, 93.7 The Ticket, and statewide on the Supernovas Radio Network.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Clear skies expected tonight as we'll drop down to an overnight low of around 29. More incredible February warmth on the way tomorrow. An afternoon high of around 66 degrees. It will be breezy again. West-southwest winds gusting over 20, close to 25 miles per hour at times. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You're counting on your team to win, so why not prove it? At Warhorse Sportsbook, their win is your win. Put your money where your mouth is on nearly every sporting event. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person at Warhorse Casino in Lincoln or Horseman's Park in Omaha, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
A team succeeds when they work together. Banking's no different. At UBT, we're in your corner for every financial move you want to make. Your money's backed by a roster of experts who put in the work to know you and your community. So whether you're opening a savings account, buying a home, or planning your future, you always know who to turn to. Working together toward your financial goals. That's a win in our playbook. Union Bank and Trust. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Hello, this is Mary Pat Waite. I've had the privilege of working with Lincoln Families as their realtor for more than 31 years, and I'm so proud to be associated with MP Dodge Real Estate. For me, your transaction is unique in its own way. My experience allows me to bring you trusted care and a really great outcome. My NP Dodge family shares the same client focus.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
My dream was to work in commercial banking. but it required a college degree.
I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska
that
State
don't have
Education
classes for
Association.
adult
The
learners
best way to strengthen
on the
our
Lincoln
economy
campus
for the
and
long term is investing in our
So I earned my
education
bachelor's
system
degree,
and raising the skills of
and 5
American
months
workers.
later, I
To
quit
succeed
my
in the
job.
global economy, we need to
Decided to
modernize our
continue
schools, hire
my
excellent
education,
teachers,
now
and
I'm working
focus
on
on the
my
future.
MBA.
Support great
For me,
public
the donut
schools,
experience
and we
has
can
been
make the good life even better.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association. Aired in cooperation with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
You're listening to One on One with DP, brought to you by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to One on One on a Monday. Good to be back. I will be doing this from the road the rest of the week, although tomorrow's a travel day. So at 6 o'clock, I'll be on an airplane.
We got Outside the Box tomorrow.
Yeah,
6 o'clock. So we're
yeah.
set there.
Yep. And then Wednesday, what's Wednesday? Wednesday's game night.
Correct.
Or it's Thursday game night.
We got a game, Supernovas game Wednesday.
Wednesday.
And then
Thursday.
another Sunday.
Thursday, I'll be able to do a one-on-one, I imagine, but I think the Huskers are playing. So if we do that right, I'll be on East Coast time. So you'll have to remind me that, world works differently. Can I tell you the biggest thing about traveling is that the time zones really wear me out. They wear me out. Like there's no, I never get it right.
Mm-hmm.
And my laptop is constantly on Nebraska time. My phone is always actually where I am, and I get confused.
Your phone doesn't, you don't just trust the phone to sync up with the time zones?
Well, because a lot of time I'm working.
That's a fair point. You're staring at that computer
I'm staring
screen.
at I'm staring at the computer screen, and I never get it right. So it's always it's a thing. We're going to Columbus, Ohio tomorrow. It is supposed to be 50. It's 30 today, and thank goodness they're going to add 20 degrees for us tomorrow, so I don't hate myself. I get most frustrated about the weirder stuff that, I have to pack a coat just for one day for Columbus, and then be mad and just spend my entire time packing, angry at having to pack the coat on top. Which is so silly. But it's supposed to be 75 in Orlando. So we're going to go from Columbus, Ohio. Rico's never been to the state of Ohio.
He's probably getting a lot at first.
Especially
in this stretch. You got 4 straight road games here.
Oh, Rico's. Let me tell you. Rico is brand new. First of all, so Rico, again, we give Rico grief.
Oh, yeah.
About being less than tall, right? He's not, I don't call him short. He's just not tall, right? But we travel with 12 6-footers.
Yeah.
And there's a weird thing that happens to men in general when they're around 6 foot plus women, especially when there's a group of them. And the comments that I've heard over the course of the first 6 games of this season would blow your mind. Oh, let me tell you, so the dude was like, is that a basketball team or is that a... And I'm like, no, it's volleyball. Pro? Yeah, pro. They're tall. Yep. Part of the job. Part of the job. Hey, are they cool?
Yeah, of course.
Of course. Bruh, they're just volleyball players.
How tall is the tallest Supernovas player right
now?
now?
The tallest Supernovas player, I think, in theory, is Danielle Hart. I think she's 6'4", legitimate 6'4", maybe 6'4 and a half.
Yep, we got 6'4".
Yeah, Dixon 6'4". Tori Dixon is 6'4". Danielle Hart
6'3". Danielle Hart 6'4". Dixon.
Yeah, so those are the 2 middle blockers.
Then you got a 6'2", a 6'2", a 6'2", a 6'1". 6'1". It's all sitting around that 6'2", 6'1". If you're playing anywhere near that front row.
So the rules of Pro Volleyball Federation are different than NCAA. Substitution rules are different. So because you have limited substitutions, you need for everybody on the floor. So aside from the libero and the setter, but even the setter, you need for everybody aside from the libero to be able to serve, block, set, kill. Like you got to play. Everybody has to play at the net, and you only get 2 substitutions, or you get 8 substitutions for the game. That's it. So
8 for the entire game.
That's all you get.
Okay.
So you can sub for the libero to serve, but everybody else, once you replace somebody, they're done for the set.
Have you noticed a chess match going on with substitutions?
100%.
I feel like that's the biggest chess match going on.
That's why Coach Bird is so good, because she's figured out how to double substitute and get the change of pace that she needs. She's got different types of middle blockers. She's got different types of servers that come off the bench. And then they still need to, like, sometimes you'll get a weak rotation where you've got a smaller setter up front.
Right.
And you try to get them off the front line, but then that also affects you offensively if they can't kill. And so sometimes the smaller setter just gets abused at the net. Even though she's 6'2", she's not 6'4", 6'5". And they're the 2 young ladies, and for those who went to the game last night, they noticed a thing, that Orlando had 2 hitters who were under 6 feet, but they both had 40-inch vertical leap. Harrison, bruh, to watch these 5, like, this is what removes the ego when you're dealing with this, because these 5'7" women with a 40-inch vertical leap.
It's the side to side speed that gets me watching, because like I'm 6'2", and my side to side speed, I look like I'm just all limbs trying to get side to side speed. Like the amount of speed those guys have too.
It's incredible. The young lady, apparently she had a run against Nebraska when she was in college. Teeler.
Okay.
Teeler's 5'7", and that lady just bounced off the floor. Like it was like trampoline bouncing for her. And then the young girl, Jill Gillen, who was actually drafted by Omaha. I want to say she's 5.
She's only 5'7".
She's 5, like, right.
Out of Arkansas.
Right. And is just an elbow and a hand above everybody else when she leaves the floor.
It's just incredible. Like I'm always just amazed, because we kind of talked about it on Sunday, and Haas kind of broke it down. It's not anything sexist to say that guys naturally have a little bit better of a vertical, but what those guys do, I mean, they would put most, even not even just like your high school, you get some pro athletes in there, they put those guys to shame.
This is, and I have to humble myself constantly around this team and in this league.
Yeah, it's easy to like until you turn it on, it's easier to see the Olympians out there.
in my head, I'm me when I was 20. And I thought I was more athletic than most people. At 61, I know I'm not, but I also can recognize that they do things now that I could never do. Like Betty Dela Cruz, vertical of she can reach 11'6". So, hey, bro, my hotel key don't go to that floor. Like I could try.
I had a rim grazer package. If you're jumping 11 foot, it's 2 hand flush and it's looking nice on the way down.
I was the point guard who would jump up and grab the net and pull myself up, just to
touch the rim.
Right, this is and you go, okay. It's amazing to watch. Right. And you go, okay, I'm not, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was never that. And I was never that in baseball. I thought in my head that football was my best sport. And I thought that I was as good a receiver as there was in the state of Virginia in my head. That wasn't the reality, but in my head, I had at least justified that. When I go to Virginia State All-Star Camp, I'm not looking at Gary Clark with envy. Well, let's go, bro. Like, okay, I got these hands, man. I got these feet. I got dancer's feet. Like, I'm a better dancer. Like, that's my claim to fame with Gary Clark. I got better feet than you do. And Gary Clark had phenomenal feet. But in my head, I ran routes differently than he did. In baseball, I ran the bases better than anybody that I knew or played against. I was never as good at anything as the Supernovas are at volleyball. Nothing. Nothing. So I sit and I find myself applauding.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wow.
I think that's what most people end up doing. And that's why I have a pretty good feeling about this league's success is when you do turn it on, there is that moment where you're just like, oh, this is different. Like, this is a different type of volleyball. Like, nothing against the college game, but watching those teams, it's insane the level of talent they have.
They don't have the big 6'8" towers for you to fly over. They don't have that, and you can't free substitute and just kind of do that sort of thing. You get out there, and this is where you say these are the best volleyball players. These are the best athletes playing volleyball because everybody has to do everything.
Yeah, it's that all-around game you
right?
need to have.
And if you have a weakness, these pros will find it. Matter of fact, they already know it because elite volleyball players, it's a very tight community. And as the league expands, and it will, I think the talent level will go up because people will trust that they can leave their current situation to come be a part of it, right? Knowing that it will survive and it will exist. The money behind this is good. The operation behind it is good. There are other leagues that are going to try. I don't feel all warm and fuzzy about the other league that's going to try to do this because I saw their business plan and well, it's a weird thing, Harrison. Like because I was that dude for basketball, and so I would see ABA, CBA, D League. So before G League, there was D League.
Yep.
Right. And there was no D League. There was just CBA. So in Strick's day, there was CBA was the highest minor league, or you could go, international. But around here, CBA was the thing. And then other leagues tried to build and other teams tried to add, and you would recognize pretty quickly, okay, they're not going to fail because they don't have talent or they're not good. They've got bad ownership or they got bad management. And you go, okay, that's like they're going to go through their money. They're going to waste all of that, bad gym, all that stuff. In identifying this volleyball league, what I can tell you is that they have the financial resource and they've been wise about how they plan to attack, and that they have actual owners. The other league, the league owns all the teams, which tells me, oh man, that ain't gonna be.
It's gonna lead to some discussions. I'll put it lightly.
Oh man, it ain't gonna be
awkward conversation.
It ain't gonna be good. Josh and Davey, I want to get back to the thing that he said. He said, I wish that Lincoln still had a Hooters. I understand. I understand. Well, you know what? There's two things that happened when I first got here that bothered me. So I was living in Houston. And in Houston, Twin Peaks is Apex Sports Bar. It's the thing. There are Twin Peaks all over the South, and they are immaculate and amazing. Apparently, there's a Twin Peaks here that closed.
Yeah, I've never even heard of it.
Right. The Twin Peaks that closed. And let me tell you, Twin Peaks done right is better. Like, hey, I'm not mad at nobody else, but Twin Peaks got it right. They closed here. The other one was the old Chicago.
Yeah.
And when we were visiting Lincoln to figure out if we were going to live here or not, that place I was like, oh, this is my jam. I'm good with this. And then it closed. I was like,
yeah, I was gonna say, well, I remember that. What year did you get down here?
I got 4.5 years ago.
Yeah, okay, that's about the same time I got here.
Yeah, and
I
then
was
it closed.
kind of bummed out.
Yeah, I was like, what is happening here? And I've never been into the new place that's Hooligans.
Yeah, Hooligans.
Yeah. I walked in there once and I walked back out. And they've never been really warm and fuzzy with us. So there's that whole thing. Right. And then of course, Rosie's closed. At least the one here closed.
Yeah.
And, I kind of walked through there pondering whether, I was having a moment.
Opportunity.
Right. I was having a moment. Toward the break, we'll close out 101.
Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. You're listening to One on One with DP on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
How do people feel about getting Big Fitness Energy at Planet Fitness for $1 down and $10 a month? They feel as thrilled as a kid the first summer they're tall enough to ride the roller coaster! That's right. When you join Planet Fitness right now, you'll get access to tons of equipment and free fitness training in a clean and spacious club. Don't wait. Join the judgment-free zone today for that all-day energy. Download the free Planet Fitness app and join today for $1 down, $10 a month.
Deal ends soon.
See Home Club for details.
Ready to upgrade your combine in 2024? The team at Landmark Implement is here to help find the right combine to fit your operations needs. Choose from 4.5% for up to 60 months or a 12-month interest waiver, followed by John Deere financial rates with approved credit through the end of February. When you purchase a pre-owned S or X Series combine from Landmark, know you are backed by Landmark's extensive parts and service network with mobile techs and parts drop-off points to keep you up and running. View our current inventory online at landmarkimp.com or stop by your local Landmark to experience the Landmark difference.
Introducing The Outlet by Sartor Heyman. The Outlet brings you luxurious Sartor Heyman quality jewelry at unbeatable prices. Shop our expansive inventory of overstocked merchandise and a vast estate collection that just hasn't found its home yet. This is your chance to own stunning designer jewelry at a fraction of the cost. Elevate your style at The Outlet by Sartor Heyman, where luxury and affordability meet. Downtown at 12th and O or online at sartorheyman.com.
A team succeeds when they work together. Banking's no different. At UBT, we're in your corner for every financial move you want to make. Your money's backed by a roster of experts who put in the work to know you and your community. So whether you're opening a savings account, buying a home, or planning your future, you always know who to turn to. Working together toward your financial goals. That's a win in our playbook. Union Bank and Trust. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
My dream was to work in commercial banking, but it required a college degree and I didn't have one. I found out that Doane had classes for adult learners on the Lincoln campus and online. So I earned my bachelor's degree, and 5 months later, I landed my dream job. I decided to continue my education, and now I'm working on my MBA at Doane. For me, the Doane experience has been life-changing.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
Nutrition Authority invites you to try Anarchy, which is an exciting free workout for athletes and fitness enthusiasts who want the most out of their workout. Anarchy can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Remember, when you want results, the solution is simple. Nutrition Authority. Stop in, call, or check us out at mynutritionauthority.com.
You're counting on your team to win, so why not prove it? At Warhorse Sportsbook, their win is your win. Put your money where your mouth is on nearly every sporting event. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person at Warhorse Casino in Lincoln or Horseman's Park in Omaha, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Ironhide Construction is hiring. They're looking for hardworking, self-motivated individuals who are team players. Ironhide Construction has openings for an experienced project manager, estimator, apprentice, skilled laborer, and erector or installer. They will train the right people and make sure you understand the position and requirements. At Ironhide Construction, it's own it, be honest, and do it right. Apply today and learn more about their other benefits at ironhideconstruction.com, where they're committed to you every step of the way.
On the Block with Strick and Austin.
We're speaking to Husker baseball assistant Lance Harvell.
Seemed like there was a pretty heavy focus on the JUCO ranks this offseason. What went into the decision behind that approach?
There's something about junior college baseball. You know, if you've been through it, you know that life, what it's about. You number one, you gotta have passion to play baseball. You gotta grind. These guys are tough. They're playing doubleheaders, every time out. So you know kind of what you're getting.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. You're listening to One on One with DP Sponsored by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Okay, Harrison, I'm going to test you. Ready?
Let's go for it.
Who made the song?
Back up. I don't know. It's a good one. I got the song name.
Legendary.
I got One Nation, but I that's cheating.
Legendary. This. So there's a.
What year?
Some
Give me the
people.
year.
Oh, this is 1970. 76.
All right, I'm not feeling bad about it.
No,
anymore.
no. So there was a band that was a compilation of bands, and on any given night, a different version of the band would appear. The core band was Parliament. The secondary band was Funkadelic. So you will get bands, you get songs that were Parliament, songs that were Parliament Funkadelic, songs that were Funkadelic, songs that were Bootsy's Rubber Band, which was Bootsy Collins. These were all of the musicians who played behind James Brown. And then they went and became their own band, and they created like the era of Funkadelic funk is the band Funkadelic, George Clinton. So George Clinton was the leader, and he created characters, superheroes and villains, and he would everybody on stage and was in costume.
Okay, was that kind of new to see that type of theater and entertainment
It
into
was
the music scene?
It was amazing.
I was gonna say
it was amazing because I can't recall
Well, I
before
mean,
that.
it's funk in itself. Sticks
Yeah,
out.
it was like they were different. So Sir Nose, devoid of funk, he created kind of a religion. This sort of funk was religious in that it as he would say, funk not only moves, it removes. Some of the great lyrics ever written, some of the fun lyrics were through Parliament Funkadelic, courtesy of George Clinton. One Nation, Atomic Dog, those are, which led to Zap and some other things. So there's your musical history.
I'll tell my parents to listen to this segment.
I'm
They're big
sure
on the funk.
Yeah, George Clinton's still on tour. George Clinton, he's still on tour. And he did, I want to say I've probably seen him 30 times in my life in various sorts. George Clinton has got to be 80 years old.
Yeah, 82.
82 years old. Different types of hair, all different versions of him.
Song in 2015.
Yeah,
Wesley's Theory.
Yeah, no,
and he's still going.
He's
That's
still
incredible.
getting it. Well, and I think he played Omaha, but I'm not sure that he played Lincoln lately.
I'd have to figure out where he all played, but the fact that he's even, to produce a song, not just go, even like that's put out a song in 2015 after you've been out of the game and looked like the last one would have been in the 80s.
Yeah, he's probably got songs recorded and that he's never released, and he's just releasing stuff from back in the 80s. Like Flashlight, you literally could do an entire bed of shows. So the
project for me on for
this is an offshoot because Roger Troutman, Zap, was an offtake of George Clinton, and he used a lot of their sound bites. So funk is funk.
No more do you like it. It's almost got the WWE lineage going
it's
on.
beautiful. Harrison, thank you, counselor. What's next? What are you going to do next?
We got full ticket weeknights ahead. Up next, we got the Don't Punt Hour with the Morning Pearsonell, and then Megan Walker is back for Speed and Power. And following that, What's Brewing Chance of Brewington. We'll have a little break in there. I'll hop on the mic, and we'll wrap it up with the Daily Nebraska. So plenty ahead here on Ticket Weeknights. Don't go anywhere.
Problem gambling affects millions of Americans daily.